Hello folks, how you doing? Welcome to the Emergency Templar broadcast again today. Hope you're all keeping well, hope you're all continuing well. As you'll see, I'm sitting down today. Just a wee change of scenery. And see how we get on. Getting a bit old now. Who's all in? No, that's good. I'm glad. I was trying to phone you, Neil. Couldn't get hold of you. I want to do a very, very special shout out to some of my grandsons, young William and young Blair. Big hello from Pappy, William and Blair. How yous doing, boys? How yous doing? Told you I wouldn't forget you. So I'm just saying hello to my two lovely grandsons. I've actually got, how many grandsons have I got? 6? 7? Maybe, I'm not sure, maybe 7. I'm not entirely sure. So, good to see you. Good to see you, William and Blair. And I hope you've been a good boy for your daddy. And I'll see you soon. God bless you. And remember your prayers. I'm always telling you that. See you guys. William and Blair. Cracking boys. Okay, who else is in there? Je suis Tadpole. Hello. Jonathan. How you doing, Jonathan Bowden? Nice to see you. John Andrews. Hello. Neil. I've seen you and the boys, William and Blair. Who else have we got? Tab 1965. Good evening. How are you? You're welcome. Who else have we got? Papa Shekel. Nice to see you again. And God bless all yous. I'm going to start today with a wee reading because I think this is a really good Bible reading. It's in Psalm 144. And I hope William and Blair are listening to this Bible quote. It's very good. In case any of them old ministers are teaching you it's all sunshine and light. I'll read it here. Verse 1, Psalm 144, 1 and 2. Blessed be the Lord, my strength, which teaches my hands to war and my fingers to fight. My goodness, my fortress, my high tower, and my deliverer, my shield, and he in whom I trust. Amen. God bless the reading of his holy infallible word. You know, in modern churches tend to forget the real crux of the faith. Christianity is a very manly religion. Although you wouldn't know it now looking at the churches, would you? Good grief. You wouldn't share a sleeping bag with most of these ministers or priests these days. Pooh, I wouldn't anyway, if you're a braver man than me. Niall McConnell, big Niall from Donegal, the man from the bog with a dog. You're welcome, Niall. And I heard you today on the show, the Carrington show. I thought you'd done a spectacular job in actually alerting the American people to the Marxist nature of the Sinn Féin and the modern IRA, not to detract from the old IRA from 100 years ago, who were men. I might not agree with them. I'm from a different tradition, but at least they were men. They put on uniforms and fought, not like these Marxists today, who replace British rule by EU rule, and who want Brits out, Africans in, and who actually push through the act to kill their own babies by abortion. What kind of Irish Republican does a thing like that? And you quite rightly pointed out, they're not Irish Republicans, and I agree with you. And I'm very pleased to call you my friend and my comrade. You're Catholic, Gaelic, Irish. I am Scotch, Ulster Protestant. But this is our island, and we need to defend this island. So that means we need to cooperate. We need to come together. That's it. No problem for me. I can assure you of that. God bless Ireland. Erin go bra. And Ulad go bra. So, excellent, Jeff. Nice to see you. Andy McCoy. Good stuff. Excellent. Nice to see you all. Right, today I'm going to be talking about the continuing saga of this coronavirus, or what's he call it? COVID-9 or something. It looks like COVID-19. It's like something like that Umbrella Corporation, isn't it? You know, that Resident Evil thing, isn't it? It's like COVID-19. Or a Dracula movie, you know, what do you call it, Van Helsing or something. Was one of them not called Coven, the lead vampire, or something was called Coven? I don't know. Anyway, it's all very peculiar. And again, I'm still speaking to nurses who are wandering about, shuffling about empty words saying, it's coming, Jim, it's coming, you've got it all wrong. They've been telling me this for 3 weeks. Next week, wipe out. Next week, wipe out. When are people going to catch themselves on? Well, I want to tell you about a social experiment. There's a very good book that I recommend. In fact, I insist that you should have 2 books in your life. One, obviously, is this book. It's the most important book, okay? The other book is a book that was written some years ago Most influential book I've ever read, called The Political Brain. Okay, I'll repeat that. The Political Brain. Get that book. And it tells you how people think. That's why I do this for the Templars, because I understand psychology and so on and so forth. And I can speak English. Not so good, but I'm your English speaking guy. The Templars must be hard up for English speaking guys if I'm the best they can get. My goodness. Anyway, The Political Brain. And in it does an experiment, which is very, very interesting. A marketing company done it. And they took 100 people into all these gyms across America and done an experiment to see how the crowd would react, how the herd mentality would kick in. And they got a few people walking a figure eight pattern for no apparent reason at all. And within no time, everybody was doing it. And they analysed what the lowest figure was before everybody in the herd followed it, and it was 2.7%. So if 2.7% of people jump up and down and go blah, 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 everybody does it. It's human nature. The Chinese also discovered that roughly the same result. 3% of the people is all that matters. 97% will always follow the 3%. And I know in America there's the 3%ers. The Soviets understood it. And when they took over Europe after the war, they basically took out all the intelligentsia and everybody, basically the 3% of the top echelons of society, and killed them. The Catalan massacre, I think you call it, I've been there. Horrible. They killed the teachers, they killed the scientists, they killed the local mayors, they killed the the officers in the army. They killed 3% of the upper echelon society. Society is run by 3%. And that was it. The people were compliant. That's it. Hello, Helen. Hello, sister. How are you doing? God bless you. So that's what actually happens. That's how we're made. That's how we're biologically programmed. Now, I've got an advantage because I am an Ulster Scot, Scotch-Irish, and we are the most ordinary, stubborn, manipulative, digging the heels in mules in God's earth. So if everybody was walking round and round for no apparent reason, I can assure you there must have been no Ulster Scots in that experiment, because they wouldn't have done it. So I'm at a bit of an advantage. But this is how we're made. So we have to be very careful. And that is why people have lost their mind regarding this virus. And what they're doing now, people, and I know they're doing it in America, because they're doing it in Britain, and I've looked into it and they're doing it in America, they're ascribing the death rates to anybody with coronavirus who dies. Now, you could be run over by a freight train. Freight train could hit you on the way home tonight, and you're carrying the coronavirus with no signs. They will put your death down to coronavirus. That's what's happening. It's a fact. And quite disturbing that I've seen Donald Trump, who's a very sensible man, going ahead with this hysteria himself. Now, he may be pressurised into that by political pressure, which is understandable. Same with Boris Johnson in Britain. Because I don't think for a minute President Trump believes this baloney. So I think he's playing it cautious and going along with this. But for my American friends, I just want to give you some figures. Your top health advisor a couple of weeks ago was saying 1.7 million Americans would die with COVID-19. 1.7 million. A lot of people. It's not that much out of 360 million, but it's still significant. He's revised that the other day to 200,000. He revised it yesterday to 100,000. And the mean average age will be 75 plus. Seriously. It's the biggest fraud ever perpetrated. So, let me show you this graph. Now, I'm coughing. I don't think I've got the virus. That the farmers are cutting the first grass here of the season, and all the buds are going on the trees. Kills me every year, so don't worry about me, I'll be fine. But what I want to show you here is the level of manipulation that's going on in the national press. And this is no accident. I am a marketing guy. I understand graphs. I understand how you make graphs. And I understand how you don't make graphs. I want to show you this. This is from the biggest newspaper in the United Kingdom, okay? Today. Now, if you look at a quick glance, it says here, deaths by age group. I showed this to people, just members of the public. Everybody went, oh my goodness. Look at that. Look at that. Because they look immediately at the big lines. No, those are just all deaths yesterday in Britain. From anything. Cancer, heart disease, run over by a bus. All of them. Okay? But that's exactly what your eyes see. Your eyes will tell you, your eyes will see what they want to see. Okay? So look at that. Now, I haven't had time to draw a line across this. The COVID deaths are the red. Okay? I want you to stay with me here. Look at the size of the reds. Now, I haven't measured it precisely, but anybody can see that the 15 to 44s is the same as the 40, 60, whatever, I can't see it now. My IT guys made it small, can't see it. Alright, so you can see 15, basically up until 84, are the same, more or less the same. And there's a slight increase in the over 85. So this graph would tell you that you have as much chance of dying at 15 with COVID virus as you have at 74. Or 84 actually. That's just not true. It's an absolute barefaced ridiculous lie. And there's a slight increase once you go over 85. The reality is, between the ages of 75 and above, about 93% of all deaths are being recorded. That's a fact. It's not my opinion, it's a fact. So just before we move on, I want you to tell you, like the video, please. Click subscribe, please. Press the bell, please. And comment below and share, please. Thank you. I get into trouble because I keep forgetting it. So, what did you make of that graph, people? That's from the biggest newspaper in Britain today. I have never seen such a blatant piece of black propaganda in my entire marketing career. Never seen anything like it. I would be ashamed to produce that and stand over it as the truth, because it's not the truth. It's not only lies, and it is lies. Those red things are not, they're not true. But the way it's been constructed is deliberately designed to deceive you, and that's what it is. Now here's a bit better news. Now if I can see that, can't really see it, but look, here's the death rates and their trajectories. Do you see this? Normal death rates, run-of-the-mill stuff. Do you see it? Up the top there's normal run-of-the-mill stuff on a downward trajectory. Below that, what is those two lines below the blue and the red? What do they say? What are they? I can't even read them. Flu. So, okay, so as you can see, fairly steady. Flu's having a wee increase. The line down the very bottom that you can hardly even see is COVID-19. And, you know, are you getting this? Are you actually getting this? That's in Britain. America's much the same. You know, look at it. It's hardly even lifted off the chart. Now, it's went up a wee bit now. It's went up maybe 700 or 800 in the last few days. But it's still infinitesimal. And the British guy who is behind all this scaremongering, the professor, he came clean, to be fair to the guy. And he said 3/4 of these people who would die wouldn't be here at Christmas. So it's nonsense. So, Neville Walker, I am in self-isolation with COPD. What is that? Coronary? What is COPD? Coronary something or other, is it? I'm 69. Yeah, you're getting on a bit. 20 miles away and get you to do a bit of help the government. Yeah, okay. You're 69, you've got a serious condition. You're doing the right thing. Of course you are. Just the same as you should do in a normal winter with a normal flu. Because you're not inoculated against this COVID thing. So, brother Neville, you stay indoors, keep out the way. And that's the advice I give to anybody with that. Papa Shekel, 28, interesting, around 28 or so people have died without symptoms. Yeah. No, I don't think there's any new strain. I think it's all nonsense. I think the whole thing is nonsense. I'm going to put my neck in the line here. I think the whole COVID-19 will be looked upon in a few years as the biggest hoax that was ever perpetrated upon the people of this world. And the biggest mass hysteria. Do you know mass hysteria is nothing new? In the 1600s in Europe and in America, the Salem witch trials, we went mad, completely mad. And some people have tried to explain it that the wheat was poisoned and it was like a psychedelic drug that was in the wheat. Like we were all on acid in the 1600s, the Puritans were all on drugs. And we went mad and we were burning thousands of witches all over Europe. Well, I actually believe in witches and I believe in demons and evil things. But we did go completely bonkers and we were burning anything that moved. And that was probably caused by mass hysteria rather than psychotropic drugs or making its way into the food chain. Mass hysteria is a powerful thing. Very powerful thing. And as I said before, we only need 3% of people to go hysterical and everybody else follows suit. And we live in an age now where women have got a disproportionate grip on the levers of power across the West, and they've went collectively bonkers. And our men are sufficiently weak and feminised now that they've not had the strength to say, behave women, there's nothing going on. We had a guy today, I kid you not ladies and gentlemen, and deeply insulting in my opinion, a British Army general stood outside the Nightingale Hospital in London, which was being built to cater for 4,000 emergency patients. There's nobody in it. It's totally empty. And said, "This is our Somme." The Somme occupies a very, very sensitive place in the heart of British people. We lost 54,000 men in a morning. In one morning. 54,000 men. In Northern Ireland we lost 5,000 men in an hour. In an hour. Dead, gone to eternity. And for this lunatic, a general, a British Army general, to be standing outside an empty hospital saying this is our Somme. I mean, this is freaking people out, because we still remember the sacrifice of Somme. Everybody remembers it every year, because there wasn't a house or a street in Britain where half the young men hadn't died. Nearly every single street in this country had sons missing. In this village I'm sitting at right now, in the War Memorial, which is half a mile away, there's 3 brothers' names on it. One shell took out 3 sons, and there was a 4th son ready to go to war. And the MOD, the Ministry of Defence, says you don't have to send him. She says no, and I've got another one in the house. There's 5 of them. They'll all be gone, but they wouldn't allow it. But what spirit in that woman lost her 3 sons and was ready to send her other 2? Amazing. But that's how outrageous the statements are coming, and it makes a mockery of the men who did sacrifice in that bloodbath of the Somme in the First World War. This is nonsense, and it's becoming tedious. But what's behind it? Well, Mr. Griffin told you yesterday. So let's see here. The Irish state has an arrangement with most elderly that gets them property after death. Doesn't surprise me. Yep. Real life. I agree with you. Economic reset. You're right. I think you're right. My opinion is much the same as Mr. Griffin's. This is an economic reset, because we've printed that much fake money. People are calling us out on it. The Chinese and the Russians and everybody else, Japanese, are calling us out on it and saying, hey, wait a minute, this money's worthless. We ain't playing your game anymore. And that would have been the end of the West. So let me be clear here. I'm not saying our governments are doing a bad thing, because the alternative, if we were going to get called out on our fake money, everything's over for us. All of us. It's over. All over. So maybe this is how they protect us from that call out. And they know people wouldn't do it for the sake of the country, saying, look lads, we're going to have to lay you all off and put you all out to work for 6 months. Do you mind going along with it to get rid of the fake money? Of course the population in Britain and America wouldn't go along with that. So they have to invent this thing that just so happened to be in China, scare us all to death, keep everybody in the house, flatline the economy. 1 in 6 British jobs have gone now. 5 million people going on the dole very shortly. Nobody would agree to that. So they frighten you. So you don't mind losing your job. You don't mind losing your house and losing your savings. You're just so glad that you're alive, that you haven't been struck down by this hideous new Black Death. And of course, in a few weeks' time, when there aren't huge burial pits filled with dead bodies, the government will say, yep, we did that because we kept you all in the house. And the general public will say, oh, thank you ever so much, wonderful government. Win, 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 all round. And the only people that lost is you and me and the normal Joes who have no job, whose life savings have been wiped out, and we're now wage slaves to an economy where wages have been driven down beneath the floorboards. It's incredible. It's incredible. Now, I just seen there, what was said about Alex Jones?
No, it'll be Alex Jones next.
Oh, aye. Well, Alex Jones will be majoring on this, but he's got a lot of trouble in it, hasn't he? He's been done for drunk driving or something, DUI or something. Yeah, I heard he pulled out his car a few days ago or something. Yeah, I heard that. But Alex getting it, and everybody's testifying against him, all these weasels that used to work. I don't particularly like Alex Jones, I've got to be honest with you. But I hate big mouths and stool pigeons, and all the people that were happy to take Alex's wages for years. Now Alex hitting that a bit rough. They're all going to court and testifying against him and going to newspapers. These people are called stool pigeons. In Ireland they're called touts. They're the lowest form of life. Now I might not like Alex Jones, but I wouldn't testify against him just for being mad and selling what are they called? Vitality pills? Penis pills or something, I don't know. Yeah, we don't do them. But what we do, hold on, I've lost it. I've lost it. Wait a minute, I've got it here. Did anybody get any of these the other day? Okay, so, again, we've still got some of these. I think you can see them. These little gold coins. Yeah, there we go. Beautiful. In a nice wee blue box. Very nice. We've still got some of them. So jump in and get some. They're 24 karat gold plated. They're not real. They're not solid gold. They're gold, real gold, but it's gold plated. Big difference. They wouldn't be $90 or something if they were solid gold. If they were solid gold, the Templars would be keeping a hold of them actually in this climate. But please get them, and remember, try and join the order. There's a link below. You'll be more than welcome if you're a Christian, if you're a fighter, and you might be too old to fight, but you can certainly support the young men who may have to fight in the near future. So everybody can play the part. You can play your part. Just because you're old doesn't mean you say you're useless. Doesn't mean you say you're no good to anybody. You're very useful, because what you've got that young men haven't got, which is even more important, you've got wisdom. You've lived a life. The young men are useless without older men. So anybody watching this who's of a certain age, like myself, who cannot run up hills too sharp these days, it's your duty to join, to advise the young men. And remember, like the video, click subscribe, press the bell, comment below, and share. So please take that on board. Young men and old men, join the Templars. And a lot of people are coming to us now and saying, wow, I never really bothered with Templars before, but because of this crisis, I'm finding that the Templars are a great source of knowledge, a great source of encouragement, and it's good to see sensible grown-up men actually on YouTube, because I'm fed up with all these lunatics and conspiracy crackpots talking rubbish. Now, the Templars are doing stuff. We've been out, I don't know if we've got a picture of it, we've been out with the food aid stuff. Here, I know Niall McConnell in Ireland, he's a great guy. He's been out doing massive food distribution all across Ireland. We're going to try and help him, by the way. So I'm going to tell people who are Templars, we're going to go and try and help this young Irishman. He's out with truckloads, van loads of food all over Ireland, delivering to old ladies. And you know what's happening, ladies and gentlemen? All the right-wing pencil necks who are on YouTube are all criticising them, saying, you shouldn't be doing that, you'll get into trouble. The government said you're not allowed to go out. You shouldn't go near old people's doors. I mean, the guy's allowed out. If you're doing humanitarian work, you're allowed out. They know it. But because they don't want to get off their little skinny butts and do something, they're criticising him. Now, if that man would have took their advice, he wouldn't have went out. And I've seen videos on his YouTube and his website, which is irishpatriots.com, of a 92-year-old woman, almost in tears, thanking his men, his volunteers, for coming to the door. And they go to the door with the gloves and the mask, and they chap the door and they stand back. People are not idiots. And the old lady comes, do you need some food? Yes. They give them a food parcel. And he's putting out cards, and so are we, the Templars, on the windows. So if you need help, you put a red card in your window. If everyone's okay, you leave the green card there. All of that stuff. But all of these big international YouTube stars were having a go at this guy, having a go at us as well, saying we shouldn't be doing this. It's because they are cowards. They are narcissists. They just want to sit on YouTube and be adored by the masses. Don't give them the pleasure. This is the time now for men to be men, and men to be held account. So these young guys who are sitting behind their TVs or their cameras in YouTube, they're not out feeding the poor. They're not volunteering for the health services to help in the wards that are busy, in the inner cities they are busy. If these young men are not doing that, what makes them a patriot? Tell me. Tell me, people. What makes a 25-year-old man who's still making YouTube videos, but he's not volunteered for the ambulance service, he's not volunteered for the local civic defence group, and he's not volunteered for a local food charity? What makes him a patriot? Do you honestly think that same guy, he goes, I'm just going to wait till the war comes and I'll lift a gun? If you cannot lift a pound of vegetables to give to a 90-year-old lady, if you cannot go and help the nurses on night duty in the local hospital, and you cannot go and volunteer with your National Guard unit or your local defence militia, do you honestly think that guy, when the bullets are flying, is going to lift up a rifle and defend his land? No. I was going to say his wife, but nearly all of these people are not married. There's no girlfriends, they're nothing, they're weirdos. So don't listen to them. Call them out. The bugle to call us to battle has been sounded, folks, with this coronavirus and whatever the governments are up to. The drums of war have been beaten. Yet these men sit behind their cameras doing nothing. I was out on Saturday delivering food. I had a van full of food, delivering it all around the country. Where are these young guys? Doing videos, doing YouTube, saying, oh no, this is not how to do it. And or it's the Jews that's all behind it, or it's the Rockefellers, or it's the Bilderbergers, or, saints preserve me, it's 5G. Do you know, there was a woman on the day saying, would you go and look into 5G, because that's what's killing all the people? Seriously. Honestly. There's a crisis. There are old people locked down now with no food. They can't get a lid off a jar, or they can't get their boiler lit. It doesn't matter who's behind it. It doesn't even matter if 5G caused it. It doesn't matter. Those people need your assistance, folk. It's ridiculous, but still some people, nutters, are going on about conspiracies. I have no time for it. Don't bother me with these things. What's going on here? Let's have a wee look. Russ Mott. Betwixt. Oh, done boy, he's a balloon, that, if ever I've seen one. Absolutely ever seen one. Now, Russ, I seen your comment the other day, if I was a real minister, because you said, and somebody said, one of the lads in the chat said, yes, he is actually. He said, well, so was, who's that nutter? Sinead O'Connor. No, she's a woman. She can never be a real anything, a real priest or a minister. But she was in a fake church that was not recognised. I am an ordained minister, ordained in May 2000, after studying and completing a Bachelor of Theology degree and a Master's degree in Christian Ethics, and ordained by a recognised and very well respected church, which is the Reformed Congregationalists. So, there's your answer. I'm certainly not to be compared to Sinead O'Connor. I think she's a Muslim now as well. So, who knows with that woman? We shouldn't make fun of her because I think she's deeply disturbed in the head. She's a very strange lady. Great singer, but very strange. And you know, my favourite version of O Ro Shigavahawaria is by Sinead O'Connor. Brilliant. Now people are saying we're going to get... Who says that's real life? We cannot leave, or it's mandatory 6 months. What country are you in real life? Where are you? Let's just look at that. There's a few seconds delay, so I want to just make sure where real life, the guy on here called Real Life, what country are you talking to us from? We'll try and find out. Well, look, in Britain, people have been told that you're not allowed out. You're only allowed out once a day, and you can't go out. It's all nonsense. It's all utter nonsense. You're allowed out as many times as you... It's not allowed. You've got the right to be out as many times as you want. You've got the right to go to your work. You've got the right to do basically anything. If you choose to take the advice and the guidelines to lock yourself down, that's up to you. And if you choose to let tyrants impose things that are not lawful upon you, that's up to you. I will not. What have we got here? 5G installer for the union says there's training. Well, they're getting cooked by shortwave. Yeah. Well, you know, nobody's getting cooked with the coronavirus, are they? So I don't know. I don't know how we can make the link between that. But anyway, I don't care. Real life's in the United States. State of Maine. I don't know your local laws, so be careful. Because each state makes their own state laws. So you have to be careful in America. It's a federal country, so you have to be very careful there. So if that's the law, be very careful. Be very careful indeed. Yes, I see that. She's a Muslim. Well, anyway, time's battering on. Yeah, tap into search an Irish person. Top. Yeah. Well, I'd rather know. I mean, I really don't. I don't really want to look into any 5G conspiracies or anything else. Look, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry, Helen. In a time of crisis, we have to do stuff, not pickle our brains, regardless of how titivating these conspiracies may be about 5G, lizard people, pot-bellied goblins, or any other assortment of gobbledygook nonsense, half-truths, or even truths. What difference does it make to a 92-year-old woman who cannot put her boiler on? It makes no difference to that lady. So put these things out your head, get on with real-life tasks, behave like a decent, upstanding Christian man or woman, and if you've any time left after that, go online and indulge yourself with the conspiracies. After I've done what I have to do every day, I arrive back at my house about 10 o'clock at night, and I basically stoke the fire up and go to sleep because I'm shattered, because I'm up early the next day to continue with the fight. So if you've got far too much time in your hands if people are getting themselves wrapped up with all this stuff. So we have to move on for it. The guards in Ireland aren't enforcing the shutdown. Yeah, well, I don't think they could. There is no shutdown in Ireland anyway. Look at your legislation. You're not shut down. Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen the upgrade. No, you're still not shut down. And in actual fact, in Ireland and in the UK, The police have no power to stop you unless they've got good grounds, and they certainly cannot stop you from going out as often as you like. Don't listen to them. Tyrants acquire power because nobody opposes them, so don't be putting up with it. But that's really me. I see Les Androkovich, new name, haven't seen that before. And again, I see our dear sister Helen Taylor, and Real Life and all the rest of them. Well, God bless you for joining us today. We're going to try and get some new guests on. We're going to get Mr. Griffin on next week or the end of the week, maybe Friday. What day is it? Wednesday? I'm losing track of time, and I'm sure most people are with this carry on. We don't know where we are. And do you know, most nights I like eating ethnic food. It's just a thing. I'm a strange man, because I can't expect my wife to start cooking for me at 10 o'clock at night. So for many years, I've been eating cheap ethnic food. And look at me, picture of health. Far healthier than a load of these health crackpots that eat berries and nuts. It's not normal. God gave us these big teeth to bite things. We can chew them up. Anyway, disaster has struck, because even the Chinese restaurants and the Bangladeshis are all closed down. They're all terrified. So malnutrition or starvation may claim me, ladies and gentlemen, but I don't think the virus will. But I'm beginning to suffer now. The lack of food is terrible. Now, yes indeed, this is, as you know, April Fool's Day. Now the question you must ask yourself, are you indeed a fool for listening to the governments, all the governments across the world, trying to scare the wits out of you on this fake coronavirus gibberish? Are you a fool, or are you wide awake and just waiting for the bang because nobody wrecks their economy for no reason? There's something going on, but it ain't the virus. But I'm pretty sure something horrible and nasty is coming down the line, and this is something they're softening us up for. But listen, don't believe their lies when the deaths don't happen. They say, it didn't happen because we as a government took immediate action and locked you all up in your houses and suspended democracy. No. And let me tell you, folks, it's going to be a devil of a job getting the powers back off these people. I don't think America's got that problem, but, you know, for example, in Hungary, Viktor Orban, who's right-wing guy, allegedly, although he deported me, and Mr. Griffin, I was thrown in jail for a couple of days into the bargain at our age. Far too old for that. But anyway, he has assumed emperor status. And wait to hear this. This is incredible. If you criticise his government, you can face 8 years in prison. He has absolute power. But so has the British Prime Minister now. So has the Polish Prime Minister. So has Macron in France. And so is the gay Indian Prime Minister of Ireland, Leo Varadkar. Yeah, he's gay and he's half Indian. I kid you not, ladies and gentlemen. He has also got absolute power. So we're an awful state. And if you know anything about the elites, and if you know anything about politics, and if you never listen to another word the Templars tell you, or I say personally, be assured we will have one devil of a job wresting these draconian powers from these people. Now they've got it in their hands. I don't know how we're going to get it off them. The Americans did it in 1776 by a revolution. The British did it in the 1645, 1646 Civil War. And that's it. We had to fight wars to get the power off these despots. And we may have to fight another one, because I don't think these people are going to give the power back to the people anytime soon. They'll make up another thing. And they know people are so stupid they'll believe it. So perhaps in October, November they'll say, it's back again. You all need to be locked up again. Who knows? Who knows? So Illuminati, you need to get yourself together, man. We're on British summertime now. You need to sort your clock out, man. But good to see you come into the room, even if you're late. Sorry about that. So that's it. Well, the times are shown below, folks. Check the times in your own time zone areas. Now, I see there, Real Life, that the mosques aren't closing. Well, in Britain, to be fair, nearly all the mosques have voluntarily closed. And I've got to say, because there's no point telling lies, because it suits our agenda. We don't believe that. We're not a political party. We're the Knights Templars, and we are our reputation of trustworthiness to maintain. The mosques have shut in Britain, most of them. There's the odd one open, but there's the odd wacko church still open. But the Muslims are doing an unbelievable job, where our white Christian men are cowering in the house like big girls, like big sissies. Oh, the scary, wary virus might get me. And the government said I'm not allowed out. Ridiculous. The Muslims are out by their tens of thousands across Britain with soup kitchens, with curry preparations in the middle of the street, feeding people. I'm not joking. Their own community, obviously, but it's open to anybody. So the Muslims have swung into full aid mode. Now, they're used to it because the countries where they come from are always having some kind of disaster, earthquakes or whatever. So they're well used to it and they know what they're doing. And they've swung into action in quite a spectacular fashion. No right-wing party is doing anything that I can see in Britain. Don't know about America. Don't know about Canada, Australia, New Zealand. But I would imagine, because I've heard none of it, none of these so-called right-wing, alt-right groups, youth groups, are doing nothing. They're sitting. I seen one the other day, and Niall McConnell can testify to this. A right-wing party in Ireland, what they've done, and they're a youth party, they're a young party, what they've done, they didn't tell their young people to go out and check on their elderly neighbours or go out and volunteer for the health service, because there's a big drive on now for volunteers to get in and work in these hospitals if they're busy. No. This right-wing nationalist party in Ireland told their young people to get some good books to read while they're in lockdown. So this is the cream of the Irish patriot scene, allegedly, sitting in their bedrooms reading books, philosophical books, ideological books, while their neighbour 3 doors down is dying because you can't light a fire because he's 94 with arthritis. That's what we're up against. It's pathetic, it's disgraceful, and people need to give themselves a shake. How can anybody, the older generation, people like me, we're supposed to look up at the flower of our youth, their manliness, their strength, their determination and their youthly energy. But we're not seeing that. The only people I'm seeing out doing anything now, apart from Big McConnell, is the old guys, old ladies, old men and women going out volunteering, and they shouldn't even be out in the first place. So that's what's become of the patriotic youth of our countries. I know there's some exceptions, but not many. It's despicable, it's disgraceful, and people need to catch themselves on. Okay, folks, that's all from me. Again, please, if you're not already a member, join the Templars, even as an affiliate. You can join with the regalia, maybe a bit pricey for these times we live in, I understand that. But you can join as an affiliate. And you will get one of these lovely things, a nice certificate. I'm on my QVC mode now, folks. Our lovely magazine. And if you see some of the pictures in the back, there's some of our lads in action. They ain't sitting playing tiddlywinks. And our annual report, which tells you all about our work, because we're transparent and we like people know what we're doing. So that's all from me today. I hope to see you tomorrow. We're going to try and get some other special guests on. Not got any names confirmed yet, but I'll let you know tomorrow. And again, remember, stick close to God. You won't go far wrong. Dus Vault.
The threat is real, and we are on the front line. In a world of misinformation and attacks from the left and mainstream media, censorship, deplatforming, it is time to call out the fake news and bring you the truth. We are the Knights Templar. Visit our website and join today. We are the Resistance. Deus Vult.